Antarctica is an amazing place, full of mysteries and enigmas. After 6 months of intense work as part of a scientific expedition, I, Adam Wilson, was finally returning home. The anticipation of reuniting with my family and getting back to my usual way of life filled me with joy and impatience. The door to our cozy suburban Chicago home was opened by Victoria, my mother-in-law. With open arms and a radiant smile, she embraced me warmly. Her presence always gave a feeling of homely warmth and care. "Adam, dear, welcome back," she exclaimed, helping me take off my jacket. "How glad I am to see you. You must be very tired from the trip. Come on in. I've prepared your favorite dishes." The aroma of home-cooked food enveloped me, and I felt myself relax for the first time in a long while. Victoria took me by the arm and led me into the living room, where a festive table was already set. "Where's Olivia?" I asked, looking around for my wife. "Oh, honey, you know our hard worker," sighed Victoria, "staying late at work as usual. But she promised to get free as soon as possible and join us. In the meantime, tell me, how are you in the land of eternal frost? I was so worried about you all these months." We sat down on the couch, and I began my story about Antarctica, about the amazing scientific discoveries and the indescribable feelings of being at the edge of the world. Victoria listened attentively, now and then asking questions and gasping in the right places. Her genuine interest warmed my soul. We didn't notice how several hours flew by in conversation. Olivia still wasn't back, and Victoria suggested having dinner without her. We continued our chat at the table, recalling Olivia's childhood, family celebrations, and funny incidents. Looking at Victoria, I suddenly realized that I had never noticed before what a beautiful woman she was. Age hadn't spoiled her at all, only added charm and allure. Her eyes radiated warmth and kindness, and her smile could light up the gloomiest day. We stayed up late into the night. Olivia never showed up, citing an urgent project. I thanked Victoria for a wonderful evening and went to bed in the guest bedroom. I didn't want to go to bed without my wife. As I was falling asleep, I caught myself thinking that I had been admiring my mother-in-law all evening and marveling at her intelligence, charm, and sensitivity. This discovery both surprised and embarrassed me. Could it be that over the years of marriage, I had become closer to my wife's mother than to my wife herself? With this ambiguous thought, I drifted off to sleep, not yet suspecting what a whirlpool of events was waiting for me ahead. The next few days turned into a real test for my feelings and conscience. Olivia was immersed in work, coming home after midnight, and sometimes not spending the night at home at all. Our communication was reduced to rare exchanges of a couple of phrases in the mornings and monosyllabic phone conversations. But Victoria literally surrounded me with care and attention. She cooked amazing breakfast, took an interest in my affairs, offered help with everyday matters. We talked a lot, walked in the park, went shopping. With each day, I admired this amazing woman more and more and was drawn to her company. One evening, Victoria invited me to dinner, promising to prepare something special. Olivia was delayed at work once again, and I gladly accepted my mother-in-law's invitation. We conjured together in the kitchen, joked, shared recipes. The atmosphere was filled with warmth and a special kind of closeness. Over a glass of wine after dinner, our eyes met, and a spark passed between us. Victoria's hand casually touched my knee, and a shiver ran through my body. I suddenly realized clearly that I felt more than just filial feelings for her. It was attraction, passion, a desire to possess her. "Adam, I don't know how to say this," Victoria whispered, lowering her eyes. "You've become a very close person to me over these days. I understand that it's wrong, but I can't fight my feelings." "Victoria, I feel it too," I exhaled, covering her hand with mine. "You're an amazing, beautiful woman. With you, I feel alive and needed, but we can't—" I know," she interrupted, putting a finger to my lips. "But right now, I just want to be with you, even if only for one night. And tomorrow, come what may." And our lips merged in a hot, passionate kiss. We kissed like the possessed, tearing clothes off each other. Passion eclipsed reason, pushing to the back of my mind thoughts about the wrongness of what was happening. There were only the two of us left, intertwined in an embrace on the soft carpet of the living room. In the morning, I woke up in Victoria's bed, naked and empty. What happened at night seemed like a dream, beautiful and frightening at the same time. Victoria was sleeping beside me, her hair spread out on the pillow, a slight smile playing on her lips. I carefully slipped out from under the blanket, got dressed, and left the room. I needed to think everything over, to decide how to live on. One thing was clear: our affair must not become public knowledge. Too much was at stake. To be continued. The next few weeks turned into a real hell for my conscience. Victoria and I continued our secret meetings, snatching minutes of intimacy when Olivia wasn't home. Passion obscured the voice of reason, making us forget about moral principles and marital duty. I was torn between two women, realizing that my behavior was unacceptable and cruel to both of them. Olivia, even if absorbed in work, was still my wife, my faithful life partner. And Victoria, she had become a breath of fresh air for me, a source of tenderness and understanding, which were so lacking in my marriage. Pangs of conscience tormented me, giving me no peace day or night. I felt like the last scoundrel, deceiving the two people closest to me. But I couldn't stop this relationship anymore. I was too deeply mired in the web of passion and forbidden feelings. One day, Victoria and I stayed late in a small restaurant on the outskirts of town. Absorbed in each other, we didn't notice how time flew by. After paying the bill, I drove Victoria home, anticipating another night of love. Pulling up to the house, I saw Olivia's car parked and felt a chill. She shouldn't have come back so early. Thinking frantically, I dropped Victoria off a block away and asked her to wait while I sorted things out with my wife. Only Olivia met me on the doorstep, full of righteous anger. In her hands, she clutched my phone, forgotten on the hallway table. "Well, how do you explain this?" she hissed, shoving the screen with screenshots of the correspondence in my face. "I love you, I miss you, I can't wait for our meeting. And to my own mother?" I stood there, thunderstruck. All my carefully constructed plans and excuses crumbled like a house of cards. Olivia knew, and by her eyes burning with rage, I understood. There would be no forgiveness for me. "How could you? How could you both do this to me?" she screamed, not holding back her tears. "My husband and my mother, you disgust me!" "Olivia, listen, I didn't mean to. It just—" I began, but she didn't let me finish. "Shut up! I don't want to hear anything. Get out of my house, out of my life. And you can take that slut with you. I can't stand the sight of you." Olivia burst into sobs, her whole body shaking. Broken and destroyed, I silently left the house, throwing a couple of things into a bag. Victoria was waiting for me on the corner, shivering from the evening chill. Seeing my face, she understood everything without words. "She found out, didn't she?" Victoria asked quietly, pressing against me. "What's going to happen now?" "I don't know," I exhaled wearily. "I'll stay in a hotel for now. We need to give Olivia time to cool off, to think everything over. I love you, Victoria, but Olivia too. How do I make sense of all this?" "Shh," Victoria put a finger to my lips. "Don't think about anything now. Let's go to my place. Everything will look different in the morning." And I, broken and lost, yielded to this spur-of-the-moment decision. Come what may, the main thing is that tonight, I won't be left alone with my guilt. The next couple of days we spent holed up in Victoria's small apartment on the other side of town. She took time off work, citing illness, and I cowardly ignored Olivia's calls and messages, not knowing what to say. Our seclusion was like the calm before the storm. We made love, talked about trifles, watched old movies, trying to postpone the inevitable return to reality. But it came on the third day, with a demanding knock on the door. Olivia stood on the threshold, pale and haggard. Her eyes were filled with pain mixed with determination, and behind her loomed two burly men in police uniforms. "So here you are," she said through gritted teeth, drilling me with her gaze. "Got yourself nicely set up, I must say." "Olivia, what does all this mean?" I mumbled, bewildered, nodding at the cops. "Why did you bring the police?" "Oh, that's in case you suddenly decide to run away from responsibility," she spat out. "Or your tramp thinks of covering for you. I know everything, Adam. About your affair, about the lies, about this miserable hole where you've been hiding like cowardly curs." Her words were so full of hatred and contempt that I physically felt them, like slaps in the face. Victoria appeared from the depths of the apartment, throwing a light robe over her shoulders. Seeing her daughter, she froze, pressing her hands to her chest. "Olivia, my girl, please," she began, but Olivia cut her off sharply. "Shut up! Don't you dare call me your girl after everything you've done! What kind of mother would cheat with her own daughter's husband? You're no longer my mother, you're... Choking with anger, Olivia burst into tears, but she quickly pulled herself together and motioned for the police to approach. "Take him away. I filed a complaint for infidelity and demand an immediate divorce. The division of property and your further squabbles with this lady are no longer my business." "Olivia, wait! Don't do this! Let's talk, we love each other," I cried out desperately, feeling the ground slip from under my feet. "Love? You dare talk about love?" She smiled bitterly. "You betrayed our love the moment you got into bed with my mother. It's over, Adam. Live with it. And I'll start a new life, without you." And the police led me away, past Victoria frozen in the doorway, past busy streets, past the future that had recently seemed so cloudless. Ahead loomed long divorce proceedings, division of property, public condemnation. But the most terrifying thing was realizing that I had destroyed with my own hands what I should have cherished and protected: my marriage, my family. And now, retribution was inevitable. Chapter 5. The divorce was finalized surprisingly quickly. Olivia didn't make a public scene or accusations, although she had every right to do so. We divided the property, sold the house. I didn't object, understanding that I deserved this, and much more. Victoria and I rented a small apartment, trying to start life anew. But the old passion, like trust, was gone. Each of us carried a burden of guilt and regret, reminding us hourly of the irreparable mistake. Months passed, one like the other. I immersed myself in work, just so I wouldn't have to think and remember. Victoria also went about her business, avoiding meeting me more than necessary. We seemed to be serving a sentence in voluntary confinement, forgetting what it was like to live and breathe fully. The news of Olivia's pregnancy caught me off guard. Yes, she had a new man. Yes, formerly we had long been strangers. But something tugged at my heart, made me regret my choice. After all, Olivia and I had once dreamed of children, planned a future. This news prompted Victoria and me to have a decisive conversation. In one of the rare moments when we were both at home and in the mood for frankness, she said, "We need to leave, somewhere far away, where no one knows about our past. Start with a clean slate, you know? Otherwise we'll go crazy with guilt." I nodded, acknowledging her rightness. We needed to break out of this vicious circle of self-flagellation and bitter memories. And a few weeks later, we were packing our suitcases, preparing to move to the other end of the country, to where no one knew us. Just before leaving, I gathered up my courage and dialed Olivia's number. After a long ringtone, she finally answered, clearly surprised by my call. "What do you want, Adam?" she asked wearily. "I thought we'd cleared everything up." "I just wanted to apologize," I said slowly, struggling to find the words, "for everything I've done, for the pain I caused you. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but it's important to me that you know. I'm sorry. Sincerely. And congratulations on the future baby. You're going to be all right. I believe it." Silence reigned on the other end of the line, and then I heard a quiet sob and a barely audible, "Thank you, Adam, really. I wish you happiness too, despite everything. Take care of yourself." The conversation ended, leaving behind a strange mixture of sadness and relief. Now we could leave with a clear conscience. The flight to Seattle was delayed by 2 hours, and Victoria and I spent all that time in silence, each thinking our own thoughts. I watched the people scurrying around the airport with their hopes, worries, and dreams. I wondered how many of them were like us, confused, stumbled, desperately seeking a second chance. When the boarding call came, Victoria squeezed my hand and whispered, "We'll make it. We'll cope. Life is not over. There's still a lot of good things ahead. Remember, like in that song, there's only a moment between the past and the future. It is this that is called life." I smiled through my tears and nodded. Yes, it was time to start living. For real, fully, and meaningfully. And let our happiness be bought at a dear price. It's worth it. With these thoughts, we boarded the plane, leaving behind the stories of our former selves. And ahead waited a new chapter, which was yet to be filled. and I believed we would succeed. Did you like this story? Let us know in the comments what you liked. Subscribe to our storytelling podcast. Also, don't forget to like and ring the bell so you don't miss more interesting stories. See you soon.